I remember when my client got this letter from the IRS, they called me absolutely freaking out. Hey everyone, I'm Andrew. I am a CFA charter holder and a CFP professional who has spent the last several years helping ultra high net worth and high net worth investors with their complex financial lives. And what I do is I take the learnings from those thousands of reps and I give them to you so that you can apply them to your own life. I'm also the owner of Lever Wealth Management, which is the financial advisor for people who scare financial advisors. And today, with it being tax season, I thought it would be good to give this illustrative example of a client who got a letter from the IRS one time. And in this letter, the IRS said, hey, you sold a position of a single stock for $150,000. You owe us tax on that. You didn't report it. So the client calls me and says, Andrew, what gives? And there's a difference with old stock of what's called covered and non-covered shares. And before 2012, brokerage firms did not have to keep records of basis, which is what you've put into a stock, or if you've reinvested dividends, you've paid tax on that as well. Brokerage firms didn't have to track that until 2012. A lot of people don't know that. So anything pre-2012 is called non-covered. Anything post-2012 is called covered. And you'll see on a 1099 form that it actually says basis not reported to IRS. Here's the interesting piece of this puzzle. They had given this to their CPA. And I knew they had given this to their CPA. It was old stock from the 90s that my client's father had, and then it was passed down to him 6 months prior. Well, what happens at death is the next generation, if it's within a taxable account, gets a step up in basis. And so he actually had no tax liability. But the IRS saw a $150,000 sale from a 1099 and said, hey, you didn't report this on your taxes. The CPA had just missed it. No, people are human, but I have seen this time and time again with specifically tax preparers or accounting firms that have to do far too many returns, which is they will miss things. And the client many times will just go in and sign the return and not double check anything, or they don't have an advisor who will walk through it with them. And so they get this letter from the IRS that says, you owe us at a 20% capital gains rate and a 4% state tax rate, now $38,000. But it was actually an easy fix. You amend the tax return, you give the basis document that shows a step up in basis. All is well at the end of the day. I remember another client who had done a solar project for about $40,000, and they called me and they said, Andrew, I really thought that we wouldn't owe, but we ended up owing about $15,000 more than we thought we would at the end of the year. And we had even done some tax planning in the fourth quarter to make sure their estimates were lined up. Well, when we actually look at the tax return, they had forgotten to send a reminder to their accountant. Hey, remember I talked to you in the summer about this solar panel project that I did? Well, we actually went through with it. They didn't mention it. They'd filed their return and didn't include it, so they had to amend it and refile. I've even had several clients over the years who on April 14th get a call from their accountant. Hey, you actually owe a lot more than you thought. You're going to have to send a check to the IRS tomorrow for $250,000. Or on the flip side, sometimes, hey, you know what? You sold your business last year and we actually made your estimates this year way too high, so you're getting a check for $250,000 back. My point is not to say that accountants are bad. Accountants aren't bad. Accountants are needed, and I know many who are amazing individuals and professionals who are fantastic at their jobs. The problem is you need to know, do you have a tax preparer or a tax planner? And there is a distinct difference here. I'm going to say it again. Do you have a tax preparer, somebody who just looks at your 1040 and plug and plays, or do you have a tax planner? Because one of those is far more likely to make mistakes. And if you know who you have, then you can either hire a quarterback like a financial advisor to help walk through that with you, or you need to make sure to be double checking their work. If you've hired one, you can't expect the other at the end of the day. And I have seen many times, and I have probably 15 more stories that I could go into of times where clients felt hoodwinked because for whatever reason, their preparer didn't know what was going on. Furthermore, I'll mention this. I've seen people many times think, oh yeah, I have a CPA. You do not have to have any accreditations or higher education to prepare taxes for somebody. You apply for a specific preparer's identification number with the IRS, and then you can prepare taxes for people. And so many people have what they think is a well-educated person preparing their taxes that may in fact have only prepared a couple of returns in their lifetime. Certified public accountants have to have, as it currently stands, I believe 150 hours of undergraduate work. Many of them take that and they get a master's degree, so they get an MTax, master's in taxation, along with it. And then they have to take the exams for their CPA license. It's a completely different bar and threshold than just going and applying to prepare taxes for people. And so my encouragement to you with this is what my clients thought was a big issue ended up not being an issue, but it's because they had an intermediary there that was looking out for them. If you have hired a financial advisor, make sure that your financial advisor understands tax planning. They don't have to be a CPA, but make sure they understand tax planning because that affects every key area of your financial life. And if you don't have a financial advisor and you're a DIYer, great. Just understand if you are hiring and outsourcing somebody to prepare your taxes, know, are they a planner or are they a preparer? And if they're over here, you really need to make sure to double check their work. So, hope that's helpful. Until next time, talk to you all soon.